Well, honestly, I do not know how to start this video. Um, Thank you all for coming, and I want to ask this question to start out. What po in the world of Pokemon, like in our world, we have something called spirit animals, animals that show our inner self. Has anyone thought of what Pokemon are their spirit animals? Or their spirit Pokemon. Have you guys even thought of that? Well, I'm going to tell you this. This video, I'm going to talk about what Pokemon shaped my character. Now, I know this is a lot different than my what if I was in the Pokemon anime. However, this month, the month of August, is my birthday, and I want to do something different. I want to do something special. I want to do something unique. And what we are going to do is, well, look at me, myself, as an individual. We are going to talk about something else. We are going to look through the mirror, look through the looking glass, as it were, and I am going to tell you Pokemon that make me me. We are going I am going to show you a team of 6 Pokemon, and these Pokemon are not a strongest team or an ideal team. These 6 Pokemon, this is what Pokemon make me me, what Pokemon taught me the lessons that define my life, what Pokemon make me who I am. That is the topic of this lesson, and this video, and we're going to go over it. And I'm not going to go with just one Pokemon. No, I'm going to make the standard team of 6. Like if somebody says to me, or anyone else, well, says to me, bring your team of 6 Pokemon and bring a team of 6 Pokemon that is essentially your team of spirit Pokemon. We are going to do that, and I'm going to show you what it is. Now, the first Pokemon is Pikachu. And I'm going to throw all this out. It is not because Pikachu is a mascot of Pokemon or anything, or whatever. Okay, well, it is one of those strange things like you never consider, but you work with it. I mean, in games of imagination between me and one of my friends, he would insist a Pikachu was in it. And because I wanted to play these game of imaginations that were not Pokemon, I would say, sure, we'll have a Pikachu in it. And it's happened for so long that on one hand I don't want a Pikachu, but on the other hand I want a Pikachu inside it. And in my games, when I play these Pokemon games, my lineup would have a Pikachu inside it. And there is a reason for that. And the reason why is strictly because of, well, its design is cute, is very nice. Its design is nice, but a lot of it is, well, since Pikachu is on my team, whether in imagination, like games of our stories, games of imagination, some of it included Pokemon. And that Pikachu had a rather, well, an argumentative personality that insists it stays on my team. So that happens, and of course I somehow find Pikachu on my team. So I need to find ways to get it to work, and Pikachu was the first Pokemon that I did deep research about. This is an example right here of moves that a Pikachu can learn Generation 4. And one of them is the move Grass Knot. Grass Knot is a grass type attack that Pikachu can learn. Think about that. Actually, no, forgive me. This is not Generation 4. This is a generation of Pokemon X and Y because I see a fairy move right there, Disarming Voice. So anyway, Grass Knot does damage to... It's a grass type attack. That means it does super... It's a Gen 4 move, hence why I made a mistake initially at first. It's a grass type move that does damage to ground types. It does damage to rock types. It also, and think about this. The heavier the Pokemon, the harder it falls. So a Pikachu fighting against a Rhyperior who uses this move, which is one thing that happened in one of my little story games with one of my friends, it did serious damage to the Rhyperior, and an Iron Tail finished it off. All this happened because I looked into Pikachu and saw that it has wonderful potential. It can learn a grass type move, which can be quite deadly, not just to ground types, but also water ground types. So if your Pikachu is covered as your anti-ground, anti-water Pokemon. Good light electric attacks. As you can see, it can also learn some fairy attacks like Disarming Voice. What Pokemon is bad against fairy types? Dragons. So pseudo-legendaries can also do a lot of stuff with losing to your team, but this Pokemon can give them some trouble. Rather, it is one of those Pokemon that you look at it and you see how much potential it has. And that is a good lesson to learn. Like, I look at things and sometimes I see potential. And I have, and I know I have potential. It is one of the, I carefully cultivated as best I can, but Pikachu is a constant reminder, you know? And it's a Pikachu is a constant reminder that even the smallest thing can give the biggest things on Earth a pause. I mean, a Pikachu is smaller than a Rhyperior, but a Pikachu can do a lot of damage to a Rhyperior. And it is with that reason I see Pikachu as a wonderful first fit on the team. Not just because it is cute, but it is secretly strong and it has potential to be mighty and dangerous. And it is for that reason why I am happy to have a Pikachu on my team. For my next Pokemon, this one was a challenge because I love fossils. I love dinosaurs. I love fossil Pokemon. And in an imagination, I created to a side several what if certain areas were Pokemon regions, and I made sure they had fossil Pokemon. And one region that I had, based on Utah, I made fossil Pokemon a huge part of it. So, yeah, I love fossils a lot. And I include Relicanth as one of these honorary fossil Pokemon because it is a living fossil. The problem is I cannot decide which one works. Like if I pick Aerodactyl, which is a good choice, it really ignores Tyrantrum, and Bastiodon is also a good choice. And so there none of these And Relicanth is also a good choice, but then again, what about all the others? But I took a step back and I thought about this and I realized Aggron is a perfect second option to me. Aggron, if you look at it, I mean, look at it carefully. It looks like it's a steel rock type, so it fills one of the traits of the fossil Pokemon. But if you look at it, it looks like a combination of a ceratopsian, which is a herbivore dinosaur, and a carnivorous dinosaur. You can say Aggron is the spiritual successor of fossil Pokemon. It is a spiritual successor, and it works. Not just because the design was cool. I mean, when I caught its first form of Aeron, I was thrilled, and I really loved having this Pokemon around. I thought it was great, but it, it but it feels like a actual dinosaur without being one. But it still felt like a carrier of the legacy. And furthermore, in the Pokemon anime, the Pokedex entry references how Aggron shows no mercy on those who would defile its environment and disrespect the Earth. The Earth is where fossils are kept. It's where the ancestors were kept. And I can see Aggron saying to someone who disrespects it, you do not belong here. I'm going to cast you out. And that fits me as well. I am a historian. I love history. I do family history work to the side of it. I have, and a lot of my focus is revolved around my ancestors. Many came from Europe. I'm a Christian, and so I study the history of Christianity, not just the Western half, but the Eastern half. We tend to overlook the great heroes of Eastern Christendom, and I react strongly against it. I study about this constantly. If you would ask me what is your favorite medieval state, it would not be England. It would be the Byzantine Empire. It would be Armenia. It would be Georgia. And I will explain to you why they were important. And to anyone that says these guys did not matter, well, I would be rather upset because I considered them extended kin of us. They were an extension of our home, our land, our beliefs. And at the same time, anyone that shows disrespect to my ancestors, show disrespects to our forefathers without giving them a fair trial, I get pretty upset at this. I defended the past, just like Aggron does. And it is for this reason why I feel no regret whatsoever putting Aggron on this team. So the next Pokemon on this on this team is Salamence. And Salamence, oh boy, I have to tell you a lot about this. Salamence is my favorite Dragon-type Pokemon. When Dragon-types first showed up, I was not interested in Dragonite. It did not look like an actual dragon to me. But when Salamence came up and I saw it because I had a Ruby and Sapphire guidebook, I took one look at Salamence and I said, I want this Pokemon. I want it so bad. And I did not know it was a pseudo legendary. I did not care. I was like, I wanted this Pokemon. I wanted an actual dragon. And it was hard. I found out you had to catch it as a Bagon. And it is in one place Meteor Falls. And it is in one spot in Meteor Falls. So I had to look up the route. And to tell you on what I did, take a look at this. I had to walk into Meteor Falls. Look at the red route. I had to go up a waterfall, so that means I had to collect all 8 gym badges to use waterfall outside of battle. Think about that. I had to go up the waterfall into that hole right there. Then I had to climb up another ladder. Then I have to go down all of these bumps in the correct way or else I will miss it, which is very stressful, I can tell you that. Oh, if you're going to do this, please bring an escape rope. And yes, I made sure I got an escape rope just in case. And after that, you swim all the way right here, and you go right into this place. Right into this small room you catch a bag on. Anywhere on land. Preferably you have to surf across to go to that place. Get that area right there with a green X. In some versions of the game, with at least Omega Ruby, I believe, and I think Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, TM for Dragon Claw. You stay there and you catch Bagon. Congratulations. Bagon's leveling rate is slow, so you're going to be committed to this for a very long time. A very long time. And how much and what level does Bagon start with this? You have to get the 8th badge to get. Well, levels 23, 30, and 35. Levels 25, 30, and 35. And Bagon evolves into a Sheldon, which evolves into a Salamence at level 50. So you are committed. I was committed. I put up with... I don't know how long I grinded through. I went through Victory Road numerous times. I battled trainers numerous times. I went through as much areas as I could to get this Pokemon. And Sheldon was in my Elite Four team numerous times as I was fighting and training and getting this up to evolve to level 50. I do not care how long it took. When level 50 came and I got Salamence, I was so happy. I cheered. I was like, yes, finally, I got this. I got this Pokemon. I earned it. I learned perseverance through this Pokemon. Some might wonder, why do I keep doing these channels? Why do I keep doing things? Even though some might say, give up. That is why. I earned this Pokemon. And ever since then, whenever possible, I would get a Salamence on my team. I'm playing an Ultra Sun game. I have a Bagon. It's going to be a Sheldon. It's going to be a Salamence. I don't care how long it has to take. This Pokemon is not just my first official Dragon type. It was one I earned. It is for that reason why, without any reservations, I am happy to put Salamence on this team. And this is my next Pokemon, Gallade. And okay, this is going to be a little personal story, but when my friend and I played Pokemon, he would go for Lucario. And that's fine, that's good. But Gallade always fits my personality. It fits me better. There's something I like about him. And during our games, my friend and I are his Lucario and my Gallade would spar each other and fight each other. It's sort of like this friendly, intense rivalry going on. And at the end, it won with equal win-loss ratio and a tie, so it ended pretty good. But there's another thing I like about Gallade, and it is the idea of a warrior scholar. The Gallade was built to resemble like a knight of chivalry, a chivalrous knight, and so that's where the fighting type comes in, but it's also psychic type. So it gives the idea of like a warrior scholar, and that is something I like, that I believe in. I would like to see myself as a scholar warrior, someone who is good with the brain as well as the mind, and I think that is an important qualification to have. That is why I don't just read a lot, but I try to walk every single day, which you can count that I'm going to be doing it after taking a nice walk after I finished recording this video. And it is for this reason why I have no regrets having Gallade on my team. Now, Empoleon is another one, and the reason why is because Empoleon is, the Pokedex entry said it's a proud, regal Pokemon. And I know some people in my church will say pride is bad, but I feel like, I would say when I was thinking about it, pride is useful because you want to stand on your own 2 feet, but a better word for it is dignity. And Empoleon has dignity, and when I see this Pokemon, it emphasizes dignity. There are points in my life where I feel like I am alone, I am surrounded, the world is against me, and the better option is to fall on my sword. I had one bad moment like that. Around 2012, 2013, actually, and the world, or was it 2014? It was probably around 2014, and I was not happy. I was in a bad situation. I did not want to be there, and I just thought about ending it. But what stopped me from doing this was not because of any relationships with anyone. It was because I thought, no, cowards go out like that. Cowards do not fall on their swords. I mean, cowards fall on their own swords. And I realized I was too proud to do that. I said the world wants me to do that. So I will live, and I will keep living, if for no other reason than to spite the world and go out on your own terms. And that is what I think. If you tell an Empoleon to fall on your sword, an Empoleon is going to drill peck the lot of you. Let's be perfectly honest. And after doing some research about it, I realized pride was confused with dignity. I have an Empoleon has that regal, dignified bearing of a king, a noble king, which are people who I admire and respect. The dignity to keep going even though when it is lost, and the dignity to say to the world, no, I'm not going out on your terms, I'm going out on my terms. And it is for that reason why Empoleon is the 5th person on the team. Now, number 6. And it is Charizard. Yes, it is going to be Charizard, and it is not just because it is cool. It is because this story is an important, consistent one. And I will tell you this my story regarding Pokemon. Pokemon, it I had Pokemon when it was just Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow version. And there was that poster and they would have various stuff. They would have cars, they would have video games, they would have toys, they would have a poster of the all 151 Pokemon. The very Pokemon that caught my attention first were the starter Pokemon, and the very first Pokemon that caught my eye were Charmander, Charmeleon, and Charizard. And they looked like lizards, dinosaurs, and dragons. Three things that I loved. And I became attracted to them, bonded to them since then. I feel like Charizard is the most magnificent Pokemon to have ever come around. When I picked a starter Pokemon, I will admit my first game that I got was the Yellow Special Edition, but my first one was Pokemon Red and Blue. I will say Red was deliberate pick because it had Charizard on it, and I picked Charmander, and it is that choice where I discovered I picked the rough pick. I knew I picked the rough pick, Brock, and then later Misty. It'd be a while before I got to a Pokemon with Lieutenant Surge, but I didn't care. Charizard taught me how to play the game of Pokemon. Charizard taught me that, and in order to win, you need a team to help you out. And at the start, it was when I picked Charmander. I had to catch a Pokemon that could fight against rock types. I had to pick. I picked up Pikachu in Viridian Forest because I knew about Misty. I picked a lot of Pokemon working with a team to build a team where Charizard was the center, but everyone else supported it. And that is how I learned Pokemon were supposed to be played. I saw my brothers and my cousins play a game with just one Pokemon, which was nice, but that posed a question: what would happen if something happened and that Pokemon was gone? So I realized I needed a team. And this stayed with me throughout my entire life. Like I'm working on a book, whenever I worked on my book or my thesis, I would work I would work not by myself. I would work with a team. Now, I will clarify I need a team, but it does not mean catching Charmander and grabbing five rather weak basic Pokemon to throw as bodies. You create an actual team. Like, for example, uh, you grab a Pikachu for an electric attack. You get a Nidoran male, Nidorino, learn double kick, or Nidoran female in Nidorina, and build your team slowly around that. And so you build a team that works for you to help you accomplish your goals. I, with my writing and my thesis work, I built a team of people to help me out. And I did not just pick any random person. I picked several people that were good, that knew the field, that knew what I wanted. And guess what? What is brilliant about this team is different teams for different things. My dad is an architect, so with a building question or something, I know to ask him. I have an a woman who I go to the same church with. She is an excellent writer. She gets my help with writing. My mentor at my graduate school, she's excellent with history. She mentored me through my graduate school. So I have a team for whatever need that I have. And awesome design. And also Charizard has that passion in it, that drive, that passion, that desire to push through and accomplish your objectives. And that is something I have. And I admit it has been dormant for a while, but that is okay. Sometimes it goes dormant, but then something happens to revive it, and then you push through. And it's for that reason why Charizard is the last one on the team. So now I have all 6 of my Pokemon, my spirit Pokemon team right here. And I told you I am looking at the mirror and this is what you see. From Pikachu, its potential. I know I have potential. And Pikachu, I learned it from Pikachu. Gallade, wisdom, courage, and honor. The Scholar Knight and chivalry. Aggron, protecting history in the past. That is something I like to do. Salamence, perseverance. I caught that Pokemon back when I should win the Elite Four. I chose to delay it because I wanted that on my team. So yeah. Empoleon, dignity. And Charizard, growth through teamwork and spirit. And yeah, I say that Charizard was my last all of them helped me through learn with it. Through Pikachu, potential that even the smallest can be trouble, can give trouble to the mightiest. Aggron, reverence and respect for the past and willing to defend it. Gallade, chivalry, wisdom, and ability. That is a code of conduct that I try to emulate. Salamence, perseverance. Catching a Pokemon like that and raising it up is hard, but it is worth it. Empoleon, dignity, like the Regal kings of old. Charizard, spirit to accomplish your goals and growth through teamwork. I learned a lot of things through my team. I learned how to be a better writer, how to be a better historian through my team. And it is for that reason why these 6 Pokemon is my spirit team. These are the Pokemon that make me who I am, who taught me who I was. And well, that's the end of this video. I thank you all for taking the time to watch this. Please leave a like, share this with your friends, and subscribe. And and this is my birthday this month. I encourage you to look at my other channel since I am doing something else with it. In addition to my mostly history channel, the Crusader Historian, and my mostly fantasy channel, the Sage of Calidor, I started a dinosaur channel called the Dinosaur Chronicler. Links to all 3 of those sites are in the description. Thank you very much, and until next time, Farewell. And one more question. What is your spirit Pokemon team? What Pokemon have made you, if you know what I'm saying? Look through your own mirror and think about if you could pick a team like what I did, what would they be? What would they be? Would it be a copy of mine? Would you pick something else? Please let me know down in the comments. Thanks again. Bye.